This is going to be the last episode of 2024. I'm going to see if we can wrap up our base unit here. We got the brackets all made, and now we're just going to have to put the platform together. All right, well, the first thing we need to do is flip this over. And what I'd like to do is grind off all of these bolts so that they don't catch. I'm going to temporarily screw this on with some got some 1/2-inch screws, number 6s here. So once I've got a screw in each end, just loosely in there, you just slide this so the space is even all the way around, and then put a screw in the middle. I'm just drilling a little pilot hole just to make our screws go in there straight. I'm just going to put screws in all of these holes. These are just temporary, but they're going to be the same holes we use for the bolts. So I screwed that all down. You may decide not even to put bolts in here if you think it's strong enough. I'd prefer to have bolts. Okay, so that's attached. Now let's look at how big the block needs to be. So what I want to do is make a mark right at the center, and then we'll go 1 inch either side of the center. And let's go back to 12-inch, and we'll do 1 inch either side of 12. And over here, we'll go to 36 and 1 inch either side of 36. So we need blocks that are 10 inches and 11 inches, 10 and 11. Just going to grab a little block of that plywood, round off the bottom edge so that it fits right into the curve of our angle. And now just make a mark at the top so we can see where our panel needs to finish. And now we'll just add our panel to that. And that's going to give us the exact distance that needs to be flush. And it looks like 7/8 of an inch. So we need a block 7/8. And it has to be rounded on one side to fit in, and approximately 1/4 of an inch thick. So this is the underlay for flooring. It's pretty cheap, and we need, so what we want to do is make sure we get a straight edge, a good edge on it, and then we'll just measure over 7/8. So 2 11s and 2 10s, 7/8 of an inch wide. And now we'll just sand the edge so that they fit into the angle. So now if we line all the blocks up with our marks and the curved side fitting into the angle, when we close our top, it should be just flush to the surface. Got a small block, 1/2 inch thick and 2 inches long. I'm just going to use that to mark a spot where we want to drill our holes. So about 2 inches over and 1/2 inch up. 2 inches over, 1/2 inch up. Now I'm going to just countersink these holes. So what I'm going to use is number 6 by 3/8. It's a very short little screw, but we only have 1/4 inch on the other side. So, and we'll just drill these holes out. If we look, our screw will go through like that and stick in just 1/4 inch. So what I've done is I've taken our our jig block and I've just put a line on there that is the exact thickness of the plywood we have, so that what I can do is put that on top of my block, and if I look at it straight on, as I do that I can lift my block up a little bit if I need to, just to make sure that I've got that right flush to the top. The other thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to put some adhesive on here, construction adhesive, PL, and I'll just run a little bead down here. The screws are not really going to hold it. Gives us our position, but that's about it. So I'll put my block on there, make sure I've got it in the right place, and attach it. Once you have those all screwed and glued in there, we need to let it dry. We don't want to put any pressure on it, so take your magic block there, just stick it there and on the rail and let the lid sit on that. Ideally, this should stay overnight, but in the meantime, let's go and look at our other panels. Well, here's our front 2 panels, 24 by 24. And if you remember, we marked them so that the grain, you want your grain to match up, from panel to panel. We've got this little strip, which is what hooks on to the front rail. So we're going to have to cut that in half. It's 48 inches, and these are going to be just under 48, so we should be good. So I marked mine about 1/8 of an inch shorter than the panel, so that the wood will overhang a bit, just so we don't have a sharp edge sticking out. And this has to be cut with the jigsaw because it's aluminum. Only ferrous metals can be cut with the grinder. So we'll just cut this. I'm just going to take a little bit of sandpaper and just sand the burr off the edge. We need to mark out the holes to mount this to the panel. And what I'm doing is I measured in 1 inch from each end. And what we're going to use is the holes in this just to give us a guide. So I'm lining up that 1 inch mark so it's as close as possible to the same. And now with a marker, hold that against the edge. We'll just mark all of these holes. Like that. So now we've got all the places for our holes. Now I'm just going to take my pencil and find the center of the first one. Hold your pencil at the same distance and just make a mark exactly at the centers of all of those. So I'm just punching a little mark. It just means our drill bit will not walk on us. Once that's all done, I just ran some fine sandpaper over that, smooth everything out. Well, now that we're ready to put these on, I'm using 1/2" screws, number 6 again. But the most important thing is, and hopefully you save the offcut from your bed rail, is that this fits over top of the bed rail. So we need this spacing between the plywood and the outside edge of the aluminum. So what we want to do is get that on there. And remember, we're 1/16 of an inch in from the end. And we'll put the first screw in the end and just make sure that that's snugged up. So once we have that in there, we want to make sure that that's the right distance. And then we'll go to the other end and put another screw in. And now all we have to do is put all the rest of the screws in. Now that we've got the edges all attached, we can see how that'll work. That's going to hook onto that front edge, like that. And that's what's going to support it when we have our legs out there. And then when we store it, it's going to come off there, go back inside here, and go down inside. And once that's down inside, we can close this up and everything's hidden inside. Now mine were a little tight here. I had to sand them quite a bit to get them to fit in. So we may want to make a little bit more play this way, but otherwise looks like it's going to work. We've got one more thing that we need to deal with, and I'll just look for some materials and show you what we need to do. So here's what we're going to need. We need a candle, a nail, and we need some pieces of webbing. I'm using 2" webbing. So the first thing we need to do is just take our candle, and we'll just heat up the edge of that webbing to get it all melted so it doesn't fray. Just remember, candles are hot. Danger. And don't leave the candle burning when you leave the room. All those things. Safety features that nobody would think of. Okay, so we got them all done. Now what we want to do is just fold it in half, and we're going to heat up our nail. We're going to put 2 fasteners on this. Probably use bolts. So let's heat up the nail, and we're going to have 1 inch underneath, so we want to have the hole about 1/2 inch over and 1/2 inch up. And we'll just take our nail and put it right through there, and it makes a nice hole. And that hole's all melted and it won't fray. And this isn't the nicest stuff to try to drill or punch, so this is a very easy way to make a hole. So afterwards, then we'll end up with something like this, with 2 holes in it. So let's get all of them done. Heat up the nail. So what we need to do first is get a little space on all our panels so that there's room all the way around. Okay, and what we want to do is mark where this hole is. So I bolted the webbing on there, so that's the handle. So you can see where we had the space in between the blocks, so the handle fits right in there, and that allows us to open the main part. And we have the 2 other handles for the inside panels, and we can just pull them out and hook them onto the front rail. Well, that is pretty much it for the main part of the platform. Opens up, panels hidden inside. We can pull them out. Get the front section. We still have to add the back panel on and make the legs, but this is pretty much a good place to stop. And like I said, this was going to be the last episode for this year. But we'll carry on next year, get it all done and get it out on the road. I've already decided what it's going to be called. So it's going to be called the Easy Rider. So look forward to that and getting it out there and see how it all works. So anyway, hope you had a great 2024 and look forward to seeing you again in 2025. So nice to see you. Take care. Bye now.